Brush Wizard. Today I'm going to show you a simple but effective technique to make the eyes on this Kastelan robot look like they're glowing, thanks to some object source lighting and bright colors. It's a pretty simple technique. Let's take a look. To start, I already covered the entire face with Warpstone glow over top of white, but I want to put Biel-tan green over top of that to deepen the recesses. I'm going to put that in all the edges to make sure that it deepens the recesses and darkens the shadows in that area, and it'll really help the effect at the end. You don't want a really thick coat of the stuff though. You just want to kind of glaze it on without overpowering the current green that's on there. So just a thin coat. Make sure you don't leave any bubbles behind. If you do, just blow out the bubble with a little bit of breath and they'll pop. Wait for the glaze to dry before moving on. Once the eyes are completely dry and there's no more wash left, then we're going to go and we're going to add some more Warpstone glow to the eyes to bring the green color back into it. The previous wash layer may have darkened up the eyes, and we really want to keep it as bright as possible. So we're going to put the Warpstone glow on, but be careful that you don't cover the previous Biel-tan green wash in the recesses, because then you'll end up having to go back and redo things and it'll ruin the effect if you continue on without fixing it. So just be careful, put a little bit at a time, work it in, and make sure it's nice and a smooth transition from dark to Warpstone glow. Alright, now that we got the Warpstone glow done, we're going to mix Moot green with Warpstone glow to make an intermediary color, because the jump from Warpstone glow to Moot green is too much brightness wise, and we need a little bit of a in-between shade to make the transition smoother. We're going to do the same thing we did before, and we're just going to glaze it on and try to get it on all the center sections of the eyes without going as far out as we did with the Warpstone glow. Like the centers of the eyes are getting brighter, and then we're going to go and paint all of the edges of the eyes, the actual like raised sections around the eyes, as if they were being shined on from the light from the eyes. Then we're going to take some Moot green and we're going to start painting the dead centers of the eyes with that as almost the brightest point so far. Once we're happy with the way the Moot green looks, we're going to mix Moot green with Flash Gitz yellow to brighten up the green some more. Since Moot green is currently the brightest green that Citadel has in their paint line, we need to add a little bit of bright yellow to it to dial it up a little more, and it ends up giving it a really nice effect. You're going to do an even smaller dot area than you had for the Moot green, and just try to make a very bright center to each eye. Kind of like that's where the filament for the light is, and you're going to go back around like you did with the other ones and just paint the rims of the eyes a little more to give it that shine look. Alright, next thing we're going to do is we're going to mix in some white with the Moot green and Flash Gitz yellow to dial up the contrast even more. This will give you a nice bright center compared to the shadows around the edge with the Warpstone glow and Biel-tan green in the recesses. Just make sure you don't do too much white or it'll really wash out the color, and you want to make sure you get it as close to dead center as possible. Just do all the centers of all the eyes, and just be careful with what you're doing. I ended up screwing up and having to go back over with Biel-tan green, but make sure you just hit all your edges, the centers of the eyes, and we're almost finished. Alright, so the last thing to do was to add a little bit of bright highlight to the middle of the eye. Normally for some kind of eyes I would have an upper reflecting dot and a lower reflecting dot to give the look of like the sun shining off of a glossy surface. But since this is a bright lit eye, I knew I needed the centerpiece to be the brightest, so that's why the dot goes in the middle. After that, it's just a little bit of touch-up work, and then I started adding a little bit of object source lighting to the armor, so that it looked like the eyes were actually glowing onto the surrounding areas. Nothing super intricate. I just needed to give the look that is actually giving off light and not just brightly colored paint on the face. It's really easy to go overboard when you get into object source lighting or OSL, so it's definitely kind of a less is more kind of thing. The more subtle the better sometimes, unless you've got a really intense light that you're trying to convey. But for this one I just wanted just a little bit of subtle light going on the face. Suitable effect, simple enough, and there we go. That's it. Thanks for watching. Hopefully this helped you out with your painting, and if you liked it, toss a like. Feel free to comment in the comment section, and you can also find me